Hey, I'm Heather Persansky, business performance and life coach, and kind of have this weird blue light kick in today in this room. I apologize for that, but that's okay because I'm going to be screen sharing with you actually today. And what I wanted to talk to you about is how you can set yourself up to win big on your goals. And really, what this boils down to is it comes from really this place of creating a path to success that doesn't allow for failure, right? Not saying that there's anything wrong with failure because failure is going to happen and failure is something that we learn and that we should be celebrating. But we want to be creating these multiple paths to success, and we want to be taking actions that are so big that it means that there's just no way that you are going to not exceed your goals. So I'm going to show you how we can create these paths, and I'm going to screen share with you, and we are going to sort of doodle out together a really fun, just little exercise. Oh, there we go. The blue light went away. I think the sun's kind of moving. It's crazy. I'm going to show you kind of how I map out some of my goals. So let's do this. Let's screen share with you guys. There we go. You should be seeing a crazy little box right now. All right, so I'm just gonna pop on over into, I don't know, we're gonna go into Canva or something like that so that I can just draw some things and show you guys what it is that we wanna do. So the very first thing that I do is we need to identify a goal, right? So let's make this bigger. There we go. It's gonna go crazy, maybe a bit too big. There we go. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to identify our goal, and we need to identify our goal and realize that it might come in multiple ways. So my goal this month is to actually my goal I'm setting out for the next 6 weeks, but over the next 6 weeks, bring in 4 new one-to-one clients, hire 3. We're going to keep that out of there. That's going to be more of the how. So this is the what. What do we want to accomplish? We're going to bring in 4 new one-to-one clients and $40,000 in income. Awesome. That's our goal, right? Then what we're going to do is we are going to think about the how. So how are we going to get there? And we're going to start to brainstorm. And what I like to do is I like to write down every single thing that I could do in order to reach my goal. So I'm just going to add in some more text here. We're going to add in some bullets or something. Can I do that? Maybe not. Okay. There we go. So what are some of the things that I can do? Well, one of the things that we're working on is we are hiring 3 new outside salespeople. And they aren't directly going to be selling my one-on-one coaching, but they can definitely help identify some leads that will go towards that. We're also I'm going to be inviting 24 people into discovery calls or connection calls. So let's talk a little bit about that number, right? Because I know that my close rate is somewhere between, I'd say between 75 and 90% at any given time. Usually that has to deal with where my confidence is at right at that moment. So if I'm really confident and I'm really displaying that outwardly, I usually get around a 90% close rate. When my confidence is wavering for whatever reason, and it's something that I struggle with and a really big piece of my own self-development, then my closing rate is closer to 75%. And so I know that in order to get, let's say, 4 new one-to-one clients, that really I might only need to do, let's say, 6 discovery calls. But if I aim for 24, there's just no way that I'm not going to get 4 new clients. And I know that I can do 24 in 6 weeks. That's just 6 a week. And I typically have spots to have 6 conversations anyways throughout my week. And so that's what I mean. We want to go so big in our action that there's just no way that we're going to fail. Because here's the thing. If I did only 6 discovery calls, I may or may not make my goal of $40,000 and 4 new clients, right? Because I might close 4 new clients, but I may not hit $40,000 in income because maybe 2 of those clients go into my new program that I'm launching that's 97 bucks a month, right? I mean, that's not going to get me anywhere near that, right? Maybe one of those clients, maybe they, after saying that they're going to sign up, maybe something happens, they have a death in the family, or they had this or that, and we decide that we're going to postpone working together for another couple of months, right? I mean, so we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for massive success by aiming for something much, much higher than what it is that we want to land on. When we create this action, it doesn't mean that it's more, right? It just means that it's different. It just means that we are creating an action that is so much bigger than what it is that we're looking to achieve. Um, what are some other things that I want to do? So some other things that I can do is to create viral posts for Corinne, who's my assistant, to post in Facebook groups. So I always create all of my own content. I truly believe that that has to happen. I don't allow other people to create my content for me because it needs to be my voice, right? But I can create the posts and then she can post them into Facebook groups. What else can we do, right? I can do 4 guest expert appearances on podcasts, masterminds, whoops, and blogs. And then we're going to put in brackets how we're going to pitch. We're going to pitch 4 people per week. Right, so once we sort of listed out all of the hows, and I would typically sit here and brainstorm on this for a good 15 minutes. So I would have lots and lots and lots of ideas. And then what I would do is I would just delete the ones that I know that I'm not going to be able to commit to. So Facebook groups, I haven't really been feeling them lately. And so maybe I'll take this one out because I'm not ready to 100% fully commit to that. Then what we need to do is we need to create actual space for these things. And so what I like to do is I like to fly on over into my calendar and I like to create, where are these 4 new clients going to live? So I'll go into my calendar and I'll create the spots for them. Where are these 24 Discovery Connection calls going to live? Like where's the space for this in my calendar? When am I going to be pitching for these guest expert appearances? When am I going to be what am I going to be doing in order to be hiring outside salespeople? And then what we need to do is we need to sort of break these down into mini steps. So we need to be really making a plan for how do we get there. So for hiring 3 new salespeople, again, we want to make sure that we're going to get the right people. So we're going to set up, I'm going to say 12 interviews with pre-screened candidates. All right. We're going to first we also need to create our job description and post on website and on multiple job sites. Before we can do that, we need to research job sites and figure out how that works. Right? So we posted ours on Indeed. We discovered that on Workopolis that it costs something like $600 per posting. And because we're looking for somebody location free, we don't really care where they live. And so for us, we'd have to create postings in all of these different cities. For one job, we'd have to create, 15, 20 postings. And it wasn't financially really the way that we wanted to go, or the way that we even should be going. I mean, to hire somebody, we shouldn't be spending $20,000, $30,000 in job postings, hoping to find the right person, right? If I were going to do that, I would go out and I would look for a headhunter or somebody like that. So researching sites, and we want to figure out how the posting works. What are some other things we need to do? So some other things we need to do is we need to screen applications that come through and set up interviews with successful candidates, right? And then we need to conduct our interviews. Oh, we already said set up 12 interviews. So we're going to conduct 12 interviews. And really the purpose of doing this is because you're going to decide from here, what is it that you're going to be doing and what is it that you can have somebody on your team do, right? So I knew that it was really important for me to create the job description because I know exactly who it is that I'm looking for. I wanted to make sure that the job description really spoke to our purpose and to our mission. And so I'm going to be doing this, right? Whereas researching job sites, any research you can have your VA do. Screening candidates that come through and setting up interviews with successful candidates. So if I have them going through to an email and I am looking for people who say this, this, or this, and as long as I can give, so I'm going to put another thing on here. I'm going to put on create a list of what to look for in successful applications. This is something that I'm going to do, but maybe I can have somebody else, maybe I'm going to have my assistant go through the applications to set up some of the interviews, right? Because it's not my best value of time to be calling people and setting up interviews. Conducting the interviews, this is something that I need to do. Extending offers to successful candidates and releasing unsuccessful candidates. Again, those are just a bunch of phone calls. It's not something that's going to make me money. It's not something that is really, really, really super important that only I can do it. And so I may hire out a few VA hours to do that. We give them a script, all that thing. They can maybe send out emails to the unsuccessful, and they're going to call the successful candidates and extend the offer and send over the paperwork, right? We also need to create the job contracts. Privacy and pull, privacy, and etc. So all the other forms, right? We need to be doing all of that. That might be something that I hire out to a specialty agency. I want to make sure all that stuff is good and ironclad, right? So once we have sort of our mini, this is kind of our how are we going to get there? These are our what are we going to do? Right? So we have our goal, we have our how are we going to get there, we have what are we going to do, who's going to be doing it, and we might even create timelines on this. So now we're going to go in here and we're going to say, okay, so the very first thing that we need to do is that we need to create our job description. So this is the first thing we're going to say by, what is it today? It's March 21st. So by March 22nd at noon. Right? And then we're going to, at the same time, maybe I'm going to have my VA by doing this by March 22nd at noon so that we're ready to post onto the different job sites. And then screening applications, all of these things are going to come through. So this will start March 22nd until maybe we're going to close that off 1 week later, right? So whatever that date is, that would be what? That would be the 29th at 9 a.m. That's when we're going to be closing off the job applications. And then creating a list. We're going to have to do this for enable for my assistant to be able to do the different interviews. And we're going to have to actually go through here and we're going to have to create a list of what successful applications do. So I need to have that to her before that. And so I may need to have that to her, let's say by March 23rd at 5 p.m. And this is going to start actually on March 24th. And until then, the applications can just kind of sit for a couple days. Right, so once we've created our timelines around everything, we want to start and we've created our space in our calendar for everything. We've gone out and we've blocked out the time to do each of these activities. So now we're setting ourselves up for success in order to meet our goals. We are conducting interviews with more people than we need to meet, right? We're doing more discovery calls than what it is that we need in order to make sure that we're reaching our goals. And then we just have to make sure that we are taking consistent action and that we're measuring. And so, something that I like to do is I have a nice whiteboard in my office, and I like to use big sticky notes. This is something that I learned way back in the day, and it's funny because one of my coaches and mentors, Laura Wright, she does this a lot too, and I just love that. I just love that about her because she sort of brought it back for me. I dug out my old Post-it notes, and I was like, oh, I used to do this all the time, and I loved it. So what we're gonna do is we are going to, let's see if I can get this to go on this page. There we go. You're gonna take something to track everything that you have going on. So we need to create spaces for these things, right? So we're going to do discovery calls. It always goes center. Okay. Discovery calls, and we wanted to do 24. So you would literally put 24 lines, right? All the way down. And you, every single time you book a discovery call, you would put that person's name in that line. So you're tracking how close you are to your goals and you're leaving space for these things. So let's pretend there's 24 lines here. And then I would also create space for my 4 clients, right? So I would say clients booked. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. And then I would say my interviewees, and I wanted to do 12 interviews. And so I would create 12 lines for all my interviews. And then I would create 3 lines for my 3 successful candidates. And every single time that somebody books a discovery call, I'm going to write it in here. Every single time we have an interview booked, we're going to write it in here every single time. And that way we can sort of track our progress. So a couple weeks in and we only have 2 interviews booked, or we've only had 3 discovery calls, I know that I need to create more activity in order to make these things happen. And so this is how I like to set myself up to meet big goals and to allow myself to still be flexible to reach the plateaus, to push past the plateaus that we're bound to reach. I mean, I may get to week 3 and I've only had 3 discovery calls. So I've really hit a plateau. And so I may then step back and say, well, who can I talk to who's really successful at booking discovery calls? You know, who can I talk to who's already achieved this goal? And to say like, hey, I'm stuck at this plateau. Any advice that you might be able to give. Or for me to step back and look at my actions and to be really honest with myself, am I doing the work in order to create these 24 discovery calls in my life? Am I having conversations? Am I inviting people into discovery calls? Right? It allows us to really check in with that and to always visually be able to see our progress at any given time. And so I like to put this up on my wall. I actually have these big mirrored doors behind me in my office, and I like to sort of stick them all over that. And so my goals are always crazy all over my office. It always looks like a great big mess in there, but I love it because we're able to see exactly where we're at all times. So that, my friends, is how I create the how I create this system to really set myself up to win on my goals. I hope that it helps. I hope that it is something that you can also put into your own life. So if you would love to connect with me further, I'm going to stop screen sharing here. Woo! Let's turn my, woo, there I am. Hi. So if you'd love to connect with me further, I would love to do that. Look, my blue glow is back. It's a little bit crazy. You can reach out to me at heatherprosnanskycoaching.com. Also, feel free to friend me on Facebook. Feel free to like my page on Facebook. I'm always giving away free stuff like this. I love helping people. I want to help you create a life and a business that is completely unbound. So I can't wait to talk to you in another video. Later on, I do it every single day, Monday to Friday. I also have my podcast Thoughts of the Day, which gives you up some more training, some more perspectives, and some more coaching on a daily basis. So be sure to check that out as well. You can do all that on the website, heatherprosnanskycoaching.com. Bye.